Hey there, here's a little diddle with a deck of cards. So for this trick, the deck is mixed and shuffled, and you turn to a participant and you say, I want you to just call stop, sir, as I dribble through the deck. So they call stop. Let's say they call stop right there on the 6 of spades. They happen to remember that card as best they can. This card gets returned into the deck somewhere. Of course, this would be a lot helpful if somebody was here holding a card, but you could use your imagination there. So that's one spectator. They remember that card in particular. You turn to another spectator and say, we're going to use the combined efforts of you and the deck of cards to find this first person's card. So, sir, you're actually going to pick the card that's going to indicate where this person's card is. Isn't that exciting? So let's go through this. Again, remember this combined efforts of you and the deck. So they touch this card over here, which happens to be in 8. So we go, okay, that's fairly interesting that you would have happened to touch an 8. You could have touched any other card, but you happen to have touched that 8. So let's do this. So let's cut exactly where you touch this 8, and let's count down. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and that happens to be the 6, which wasn't your card. But you know, interestingly enough, I said this was going to be found with the combined efforts of you and the deck. So let's count down 6. So remember, you could have placed, or you could have touched that 8. You could have touched any card, but you touched that 8, which led us to that 6. So let's go here. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sir, for the first time, I want you to name the card that you picked. And of course, using the combined efforts, right there leads us to the 6 of spades, the card that the spectator has picked. Oh boy, what a happy day. So this is a little bit of a combination of a couple different ideas. You are going to need a little bit of a stack, but it's very easy to get into. Now, one of the cool things is that from a shuffle deck, if you are going to need to call this particular stack, you should be able to do it in a couple pass-throughs of the deck. So what you're going to need to do is have the ace through king in order on top of the deck. Now, the ace through king doesn't have to be in the same suit. They could be at different suits, but you need to have king through ace, on top of the deck. So the way we get into that is that we're going to go through the deck and we're going to call the cards in order. So for example, we come to an ace, we're going to call that card. Then we come to the next 2, we call that card. We come to the next 3, and we call that card. Now, unless you have extraordinary bad luck, we have a 4 back there. Unless you have extraordinary bad luck, this isn't going to take more than, I would say, 2 or 3 passes. So right now we're at 4. So we're going to be calling a 5, the first 5 we see. Then we're going to be looking for a 6. Again, right now I happen to be having bad luck, so that's a 6. Next, going through, looking for a 7, and we see that our order is over here. So now we could get a 7, an 8, if we could ever find it, a 9, a 10, right there. And now we're just going to have to call the court card, so that's a jack, a queen, and a king hopefully are together. So what that does is that leads us with the ace, the 2, the 3, the 4, the 5, the 6, the 7, the 8, the 9, the 10, the jack, the queen, and the king in the top of the deck, which is exactly where it needs to be. Now, this, again, is not done with the attention on the cards. This is done as you are fiddling with the cards. Maybe in the first run, you're taking out the jokers. The second run, you're just making sure that the deck is full as you're bantering with the spectator. But it shouldn't be something that's like, hey, look at my cards. But you're just going to call those cards in order, which does help for a lot of other tricks. So for this, just start ace, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Just call the cards as best you can. And that's a setup. So you have a king on top all the way through an ace. And next, you're going to need to turn over this ace, and that is the next part of the setup. Now, the reason you're turning over this ace is because I like to do a bluff pass here with these 13 cards. So I want to know, without counting, where the limit is. And in this case, that ace helps me find it. So for this, you could start off with the deck in your hand. You can mix the cards up this way, making sure not to disturb your top stack. And at some point, what's going to happen is you're going to put these cards back on top. Spread the cards, notice the ace, turn it face down, and keep a break right below it as you square up the cards. So at this point, I have a break below the ace, which is, of course, the first card in, or sorry, the 13th card in this particular stack. So now I could transfer that to a thumb break here in the back as I dribble the cards, having the spectator call stop anytime they want. Wherever it is, they call stop. I hand them this card over here, so that card's handed to them. Now, of course, what's going to happen here is while the spectator is looking at the card, I'm just going to kiss the cards and deposit all the cards below my thumb break onto the deck. So this is kind of a variant on that bluff pass that I taught on the channel a little while ago. Actually, I taught here on Patreon a little while ago. But what's going to happen now is when a spectator returns a card, I could bring this half over here, pick up a couple extra cards, and dribble the cards, giving the impression that that card is somewhere further deeper into the deck. So all in all, let's go back to the ace here. You're dribbling the cards, having the spectator touch any card. In this case, it's going to be the 9. As they're looking at the card, you just kiss the cards, depositing those cards onto the deck. They put their card back on top of that half, implying that that's exactly where they took it out from. As you come with the deck, you pick up a couple more cards, dribble the cards, and that is your bluff pass. So now their card is actually 13th from the face. So here you actually notice, 14th. So you have the ace followed by their card. Now, what we're going to need to do is the prophecy move, because you're going to imply to the spectator, you're going to implore to the spectator that they are going to find the card with the combined efforts of the deck and their own will. So that's going to be what's going to lead to the card, which is the reason why you need both of those cards. So now you have another spectator touch any card, and you're going to do the Bill Simon prophecy move. So here, as I've explained for the probably the millionth time, what's going to happen is whatever card they touch in the middle of the deck, you are going to turn your right palm over and use your thumb to grab that card that they touched. You're going to turn your palm face up. In this case, it's going to be the 10. And now you're going to bring this over, which cuts the deck secretly with the misdirection of turning over that card. So one more time, in action, what that should look like is the spectator touches any card they want. Let's say they touch this one. It should just look like that. So now we draw attention to the fact that that's a 6, that they could have touched any card they want. We go and we say that we're going to spread to the position that they touched the 6 at, and we're going to count down 6 cards from there. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And of course, the 6th card is the 8. But remember, because of your stack, what's going to happen is that no matter what card they land in your stack, it's going to be the amount of cards that's going to lead to the spectator's card. So you see that? So in this case, it's an 8. And if we count down 8 from here, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's going to be the spectator's card because of your stack. How clever is that? Jesus, it's almost like I'm some sort of magical genius. Let's not get too full of ourselves here. But so remember, the spectator touched the 6. We're going to count down 6 cards. It doesn't matter what number they lie within the 13, because their card is always going to be the one that gets counted down. So in this case, we're going to count down to 6. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which is going to be an 8. Remember, we're going to find their card with the combined efforts of them and the deck. So the deck tells us that their card is now 8 away. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, which is going to be their card. So it's almost a self-working trick apart from that initial bluff pass. But you have a very, very simple trick that involves just a little bit of a stack on top of the deck. And using the combined efforts of you and the deck, you're going to be able to find the spectator's card. So that's the paddle point. Very, very simple trick. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It's definitely something that is one of my favorites because of the way everything's laid out and because of this little sub-story of the combined efforts of them and the deck finding the card. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. Thank you guys for being part of this piggybacker experiment, and I hope to see you guys on the next video.